אני לא רואה את זה אצלי עכשיו.
Okay, I see us live, just waiting for the picture to see that it's all in ordnung. Refresh. Sorry, I don't see it yet, so I'm waiting. Okay. Good morning. It's a way to put it. Today we're talking about good people. So I believe that the word good, it will have a special observation today. For those who don't know us yet, my name is Noah and I'm with Ruti, my mentor, my partner in crime and in good. And I would like to say this morning that we're from Israel because it's very on the table. And it also connects to our topic today. Every morning, every Friday morning, sorry, we do 2 live sessions. We start with the Hebrew one and then we do this one. In our live sessions, what we wish to do is to go through a certain topic and to look at it through the way we got used to thinking about it, with beliefs and thoughts that we inherited, that we invented, that we created, drawing conclusions from our life experience and got into a certain form, picture about good people, about war. That was our previous topic today. But if you look on our YouTube playlist, you'll see large number of topics that we observe. So we want to look at how we got used to thinking about it and living it, and what does it look like and what does it feel like when we come from it, from what we call what really is, meaning not from the realm of thoughts, not from the realm of conclusions, not from the realm that the mind can understand and explain to itself and to us. Us, I mean me, that is not my mind, and to obviously other people. So it's not to exchange one idea in another. It's not what I thought, so it's probably this. No, but what does it look like if we don't answer? If we let the topic live in a way that is unexplained, that is. So that's what we want to do. It requires a certain way of listening, not just from the ears. It requires a different way of talking, which is not just from the conscious brain. So we invite you to listen in a certain way that is a bit more airy. Sometimes the rhythm of the conversation is a bit slower because it's more airy. Let it be, and let the spaces between the words, between the sentences, speak to you also. That's where the wisdom that is not in the words lie. So I'll give this as an introduction. Ruti, if you'd like to add something, sharpen something.
No, it was beautiful. Just let it be.
Okay. So We're talking about good people today. And like I said, our previous topic was war. In Israel this morning, I don't know how to call it, like the governments, the leaders achieved
Ceasefire.
ceasefire. After 11, 12 days of war. And in the last few months, Ruti and What Really Is, and colleagues that we are working with, we had a study group of leadership. Again, looking at leadership, not from the way we got used to thinking of it, but asking what it is now and what is required of leaders and of leadership as a concept these days, with the spirit of our time, with the level of consciousness that we reached as individuals, as societies. And what we saw, that it is time that the inner wisdom of each one, it's time for it to speak. And I think often we silence this one because we want to trust other people to know better and to tell us what to do. That way we can, why do we do that, huh? We want to dodge the responsibility. We don't trust our voice. And that brings me to the topic today, because I think that if we would answer this call of listening to all our inner wisdom, there will be many more good people, what we call. The level of goodness will rise. So why don't we do that? Why do we silence ourselves? If the good is there in us, speaking all the time, and everybody wants things to be good. Everybody wants that. Nobody wants things to be bad. So it doesn't make any sense. Something doesn't make sense. If I go with this logic. So I don't know if now is the time maybe to say, when we say good, what we actually mean.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it's worth also to say what is bad, as in the opposite of good. And also if you can maybe take it from here and answer this question that rised in me.
So I would like to start with the beauty and wisdom that lie in the expression good people. Because unlike the mind that immediately creates sides, if there are good people, then there must also be bad people.
And if I'm not a good person, I must be a bad person.
Yeah, exactly. So if we don't go there, but immediately plunge, we'll come back to that, just to understand the mechanism that we as human beings have built ourselves and got trapped or caged in. But now let's go to good people. I think that if we go with our intuition and we ask, what are good people? Or when do I call someone, he's a good person? Huh? Or good things, he's a good person, then I would look at a few things. One of them is that I feel good when I'm around him or her. Okay, when I say feel good, I don't mean that I'm satisfied or that I think highly of myself, but that I love myself.
Or that it's fun.
Yeah, or that
It's
it's fun.
important.
Yeah, correct. Because these are different shapes or forms of satisfaction. But loving myself, when I love myself next to a person, yeah, it's not appreciating, it's nothing like that. It's really just when I love myself next to a person, then this person is of good. He comes from the wholeness. He comes from the oneness. He comes from something that is not from any kind of a lacking or any kind of a missing part or any kind of a not yet or shouldn't be. It's just there, full, very vibrant. And that's why everything that comes to him or her, everything that everyone who is besides them feels that love. Not that he's loved, not only that he is loved, but that he loves himself or herself, that the person or the thing, that what I am is beautiful, is vibrant, is alive. So that's one thing I would look at. The second thing that I would look at is that I become light in the sense of not heavy. Things become simple. They happen as if from themselves. Although you can see that someone has done something and then it led to something, but there's an easiness about things. It's like there's no decision to be made. There are no choices to be selected from. There's nothing that comes from friction or the ability to fail. Good people come from a place where everything is life-giving. They know this. And from there, they can really see everything and everyone like that. It's not that they appreciate other people or see their values or advantages. It's that once they are that way, this is where they come from, then the I, Jesus has said that very beautifully. The I is the mirror of the soul. And when the I comes from the soul, when the look comes from the soul, then it only sees souls. It only sees this wholeness, this sanctity that is not beyond life. It is the basis of life. It is where life comes from, stems from.
Can I interrupt?
Sure.
Do you know the feeling that you are around someone that this is their vibe, but you actually don't feel good about yourself? Because I have a sneeze that is stuck for half an hour. I hope it will show up. So you actually don't feel so good about yourself, actually, because of this reflection. You immediately start asking yourself, like, do I look good in their eyes? Am I good enough? This quality in them actually turns on your inner judgment, starting to compare and asking questions about yourself, which actually makes you not feel good about yourself.
Yeah.
So I would like you to.
So that is exactly what the difference between a person who really stems from the oneness and, I would say, complying to the natural movement. It's like the pulse of everything. Then there is this oneness that everything stems from, and this person is dwelling there. He is not aiming to achieve a position or power or ways to control other people or ways to become something. He's just dwelling in the oneness.
Wow, do you know people like this? I mean, I can't think of anyone that is as pure as you describe.
I do, but I also know that this is our nature, and that's the important thing, is that the minute I acknowledge that this is my nature, then I would go there. I would dwell there. I would access that place in me or that dimension in me that is always there. When you see someone really good and then you start comparing, that's because he's still here. He is still there. He is still
measuring me.
No, not only
or himself.
Yeah. This is the realm of identities, of needs, wants, and fears. So when we're here, we look at good as a possible position out of many. We look at it as a place to attain. When we say good from here, it's like God looking at the world and saying, this is good.
So this is a person that is really not in their wishes, not in their fears, not in their what they want, what they need, think they need. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's the person who knows. It's not someone who, like we imagine monks to live. It's not really what a monk is. But when we, as you know, when people look at monks and they say they defy earthly needs, carnal desires, and they achieve a higher, or they attain a higher status, that is not what a monk is all about. But if we look at the world out of that angle or from that look, then what we'll be seeing is that being good is an identity. It is something to reach, and then you have reached that place. So that means that now you succeeded, and then you belong to this part of the world which is of good people.
Yeah, and now you also need to maintain this.
Yeah, right. And how do you maintain this?
By keep on double checking with yourself if you're still on the good side, by doing good deeds, saying good words.
How would you know?
Practice. I don't know, maybe.
If I'm in that realm of good and bad, then how would I know if I'm still on the right side, or did I, unnoticeably drifted away to the other side of the bed? How do I know?
Maybe by, first of all, looking inwards and just kind of asking myself, I don't know what exactly the question I would ask, but
you see that first of all, it would come out of a comparison,
yeah,
frame
for
of
sure.
reference and a comparison. I have
For
to have
sure.
it, because if there's good and bad, and I need to be on the good side, okay, because otherwise I would drift away into the bad side and I become evil or selfish, going across the whole.
Even comparing to myself, not even
Right.
comparing to others.
Right. So
comparing to what I was, or to what I want to be,
exactly
who I want to be.
I need to have a frame of reference so that the what is answered. What is that? And then I need to compare. So I know how far did I go, if I drifted away, how advanced I am, if I think that I did good and did a good job, and then I've reached that. That is something that is that cages me into this frame of reference, so that I need to be good. So that's why I have to always make sure that I'm the goodest. There is no such word in English, but it's not the best. I'm the most good person in. There's no word like that in English, because there's no such thing.
I wouldn't give the English language that credit. That's the reason there's no such word.
I don't know, because many times you cannot find a word because this thing is not
real.
Is not real. There's no such thing as goodest.
Yeah,
but
there is the best, and the best is being good at something.
Right, that's something else.
And that's
but good, being a good
possible.
person. Mm-hmm.
That's measurable.
When
being best and running.
When there's one of the, don't remember if it's one of the apostles or a person, while Jesus Christ is walking on the road, and he reaches Jesus Christ and he asks him, can you tell me the whole essence in a sentence or in a word? And Jesus Christ answers, love your brother as you love yourself. And the person says, in less words, can you tell me this in 1 or 2 words? And Jesus says, yes, do good. Okay, that's it. It's not do better. It's not be gooder than
or
others.
Even be good.
Yeah.
I want to give back the uncredit I gave the English language. I'm sorry, it was disrespectful. I don't know enough.
It's beautiful to see, because in order to do good, you need to be good. Because if the eye looks from separatedness, from comparison, from competition, from a feeling of lacking or not being good enough, then it would see exactly that in what it looks at. Okay, in the person I'm looking at the state I'm looking at the community I'm part of. This is what I would see. So do good has to take you to understanding that you need to dwell in the source. When you dwell in the source, when you dwell in the nature of all things, and you just let go and not argue and not push or pull, but just be in that source, in the origin of everything, of this something that gives life to everything, then this would be it.
So if I cannot if I cannot, if the answer is...
Just one moment, just
okay.
one moment. I want just to say one more thing about looking at being good from here as an identity.
Yeah.
Then if I have to maintain being good, if I want to be considered as a good person or good people, if I want others to say this about me, to treat me as one, to give me privileges as one, to whatever, then one of the things I would find myself doing is not only comparing and then also, no, we didn't go through the subject. I'm coming back. So first of all, it's that when I compare, I cage myself, or I force myself to look at things through this certain look. I understand good to be something. It's what we now call narratives. It's like, it's my story and then your story. And then we compare and then we argue and then we need to, and then I'm with you and I'm fighting for peace with you, but I fight against other people. So actually separation is being created everywhere we go. Because when we're concerned with being good, actually what we're doing is we're creating separatedness.
Yeah.
Then another thing that we're creating is levels. There are those people who are on the higher level of the ladder of goodness, and there are people who are low on that ladder. That means that I would sometimes make other people weaker and desire them to be lower on the ladder, on the stages of the ladder, so that I can be higher. It's not always that I would become more good. I can become the goodest only by merely pushing them down.
Yeah.
Okay? And then, so I need sometimes to actually do that and just say this about them. And sometimes I would create games, rules of a game that would make them be not good. They would be angry, they would confront, they would argue, they would scream. Okay.
Actually, once I decide, I declare the value of today, the value of the company, the value of the gang. If the value is good, immediately the game begins.
Right.
If the value is fun, who's the funnest? If the value is rich, but good becomes just another value that dictates the game now.
Exactly.
Wow, this is so true with good.
Yeah.
Becomes a competition.
Exactly. And it also is when good becomes a thing, then you strive for it. You're afraid that it will be taken away from you. It's like property. You guard it, you protect it. Other people appear either, and it's important, either as a threat to your goodness. For example, if someone is entering the room and you find out that he's really good, then you're not happy because now he pushed you down the ladder. So immediately protecting myself, attaining something, holding on to something, and treating others either as a means to an end. If someone not good, not so good in goodness would come my way, it's a good opportunity. If someone is really miserable, it's a great opportunity for me to be good. Okay? So actually, I want around me people who are not good. Okay? in the
So
way
I can
I see things.
feel better.
Yeah, I can feel better. I can be better with
I
them.
can
I'm more
practice.
appreciated. I can practice being, I'm more appreciated than them. Okay. And that becomes already a gain. And if I am good, then my concern is myself. I'm concerned, yeah, when we're mistaken and seeing good as sides, as a side,
As a
as
value.
contrary to bad, as a value, as a thing, then when I've reached the higher ladder, I'm concerned with staying there, making sure nobody takes my place, and making sure nobody else creates other ladders. Okay, because that's bad news for me. So actually, I'm looking at myself, thinking that's what's called being good. Because my focus, what I'm concerned with, is myself. Okay? Okay, and that's a game we all know. And I'll just add that when we do that, when we look at good from that angle, then we're more and more inclined to make sure that nobody else enters our level or realm, and that others are pushed away, and that we don't lose that. Doing that creates a situation where I'm not listening to what is asked of me, what, if I listen well, I can see what is the thing that I'm called to pay attention to, what is the thing I'm called to nurture and cultivate. Yeah. Instead, I'm concerned with myself and with the adjective that, my name has after it is called. So that comes from separation. It comes from the illusion of more or less, better and worse, good or bad, and so on. And from there, separation just keeps on taking more and more space. I think it's wise to see that this is what actually happens. For example, when there's a basketball team or when there's an organization that is built on these values, you can see what happens to people. Okay, you can see the competition, you can see that they're not playing like a team, that the only time they will play like a team is when their interests are more likely to be met through being a team, but that's all. There is nothing more than that. It's separation and calculations. Whatever gives me more value, more opportunity, a larger advantage, that's where I'll be. Okay, so many times we think mistakenly that if we create a healthy competition, yeah, if we build strong values and we ask people to comply or to meet them, then we'll create a place that's vibrant and growing and reaching new levels of performances and even understanding the whole profession. Actually, it rarely happens. And many times, in most cases, what happens is the opposite, is what we just described here. Okay?
Can you give 2 minutes about this basketball coach?
Yeah.
I think it's a good example, good story anyway, good advice.
Yeah, there is a book that has been written, I think, 20 years ago by Pat Riley, who is a very known basketball coach. While he wrote this, when he was coaching the Los Angeles Lakers, And when he started coaching them, they were a very, very bad team. They were losing the game. There were intrigues inside. There was no team playing. There was no collaboration, real collaboration. And there was a lot of fighting within, a lot of egos running the whole game. And not only the game, the relationship. And when he entered and he saw this and he learned and he asked the people what was happening, one of the things that he influenced was the concept of the most valuable player. Up till then, the most valuable player was, if I'm not mistaken, judged or chosen by the press and the audience. Okay, and since Pat Riley came in, this was a choice made by the team after every game. The team itself chose the most valuable player, and he was also, of course, he got a bonus, and he was treated accordingly, because he is the most important asset of the team. Because if a team is supposed to play a team game, then the person who is the most valuable player is the person who contributes the most. And and the thing that Pat Riley did was actually he made them. He said this: the most valuable player is the player who, thanks to him, the team rose up to the challenges, but even beyond the challenges, to their own spirit and their own abilities that were unprecedented. And therefore, he's like the spirit of the team. Now, look at the beauty of such measurements, because once you put such a measurement, it doesn't mean you have to do 5 of these, 100 of these, and then you need to also take the left turn.
Yeah, you have no recipe.
Right. No recipe, even no measurement.
Yeah. No goals.
No goals, because you have just one essence that you need to meet, and to, it's not only to create, it's you need to discover and reveal yourself through that essence. And the essence is that the whole team rises to a new level of performance and ability and self-awareness, the way they perceive themselves.
And you have to be 100% focused in yourself and 100% focused on the team.
Of course.
You have to be 100% in both sides, and it creates oneness.
Yes.
Because you cannot separate.
Right. And from there, you can go to another level, and that is that it's not only you trying to be the most valuable player.
Yeah,
everyone on the court is trying to be the most valuable player. And
you can really feel how it just by in you and me now, or at least in me, it feels like the whole level of the world is rising.
Yes. That means that you look at everyone and you see other very talented players do that also, and they do things that take out the wisdom and ability and talents of everyone. And then once that's there, then another one comes and he takes that to another level, and then another one comes. So at every moment of the game, your focus is on everyone and their ability, and then you want to ask, and that's the real essence of service, true service. Yeah, you need to ask, what if I do now would make the difference for everyone here and allow them to be whomever they never thought they could be. And that is the focus of everyone on the court. Okay, so I cannot weaken you because I want to go higher or to be, more of an advantage, have more of an advantage, or be more
likable, whatever.
Yeah, whatever. The other thing that he did, because that only for itself was not enough, is, for example, he saw that when the team was coaching, they were competing one against the other. So that again rose the same way of thinking. If I want to be good, then I can be good by stopping others, by weakening others. So what he did was he studied every player's game very, very thoroughly, together with other professionals and with the player himself and the team themselves. And then he found in other teams the one person that player should be compared to him and inspired by him.
Oh my God.
In that way, he taught them, because he was not playing against that person. He didn't teach him to win. He taught him to become better and better through the excellence of the other player. That is exactly the place where this thinking of lacking and weakening, and where competition takes out the worst in us and turn the way we see things, turn the way we look at ourselves and feel ourselves, so that we can look at others and be inspired and being given measurements that would take the best out of us. And the best out of us is not only the performance, which is very important, but also the real inner knowing of the fact that we are miraculous, that if asked, then we are miraculous. And we want to be in an environment that in a community that asks that of us. It doesn't always have to be in competition with others. Absolutely not. But being asked a little is not our nature. What it results in is that we're focused on the way we have known each other, we have known ourselves and each other up till now. And then we think as if that's all there is. But if we are asked more of us, if we're called to reveal ourselves to ourselves, to leave behind the way we thought of ourselves and really allow ourselves to be, then we are revealed to ourselves again and again, more and more, with beauty and magic and really miraculous. There's no other word. Shall we go for a moment because we now went, to the road where there are those good and bad, those contraries, and the world they create.
Sure, take us back.
If we go back here, if we go back to the source, if we go back, I'm trying to use non-spiritual words, it's like if we go to the simplest place there is. For example, I have a Druze friend who has built on the slope of a mountain. He's built like a camp that's designed to have either spiritual sessions inside, or companies come to have like retreats there. So it's in the open air nature, that there are roofs, but he just went along with the mountain, and he built like something that's completing the shape of the mountain, which is covered so people can sit there. And it's magnificent. It's so, so beautiful. And the energy is great. And when I came with the group there, and people were asking him, how did he do the engineering? How did he build the place where it can, nature doesn't destroy it? And he said, I had the best engineer working for me. And they asked his name, and he said, he's called Rain. And he said, I saw how the rain was going down the mountain. I could see how it flows, where it reaches, where there are ponds that are created because there's no way for the water to continue running down the mountain. And that is the way I built the complementary part of the caves. And I remember I heard that and I started crying, because if we come from that simplicity that is evident in everything, if we only look, then we can see that that's where we are called to come from. When we say good people, we don't mean people who do good deeds, which usually also are in order to. It's some kind of, I met a woman who was actually addicted to being good. She gave everything that she had. She lost all her family just so that people would say that she's good. It's a very extreme way of doing that. But it's like, that's how the mind tells us to be when we're mistaken, when we think we need to compare and compete. But if I dwell here, if I come from the simplicity of nature, if I come from the simplicity of love, and the way it shows me how to go about, then actually this is all there is. It shows the way. Everything is being taught to me. Everything speaks to me. Everything is one with me. I know everything from within, every person on earth. But do we listen? Are we aware? Do we come from a humble enough place so that we're airy enough and loving enough, and also really asking to learn and to see, so that the voice of nature, the voice of the way everything is, can speak to me, and I listen to it and then I comply? Or whether I either not listen at all, or listen and then say, well, I heard that, it's a good recommendation. I hope one day I would be able to do that. But now I think, nature, you don't understand how things are run here. And I know how they are, and I have the experience. I suffered enough. I was naive many times and suffered because of that many times. So please let me run the business here.
Yeah,
Okay?
so in order to have this listening, this quality of listening that you're talking about, we need to do, maybe you would disagree with the term, but we need to do hard work to acknowledge that our wisdom is not the wisest, that what I want and what I think and what I is not what's most important. B is not what necessarily right. And 3, I would even say, it's none of my business.
Yeah.
It's almost none of my business what I want and what I think. There's a greater wisdom speaking, and my responsibility is listening.
Yeah.
This is not something that is easy for us to do, and many of us don't even know we can, or it's an option.
Yeah. So first of all, I think that what you said about not knowing that it's an option, and even not knowing that it's an option is something that is very, very important to understand. In our book, what really is, that's the great intention. That's the beautiful intention. Okay, it's like, so let people know that they are magnificent, they are miraculous, and that they're already that. They don't have even to make themselves that. So someone never told me that before. So many people tell me that. So that's one thing. The second thing is that we as human beings have learned to learn from the place of suffering. For example, now, as you said, we've ended 11 days of war. War is a terrible, terrible, terrible thing. And while I was under bombardments, while I was in the shelter, while I was all the time aware to hear the sirens, while I was seeing what we did in the Gaza Strip and how damage we've caused, how many lives we took, I was looking at all that and I was saying to myself, how many more times do we need to go through those sterile, vicious circles until we understand that the way we understand things is the cause of all this? That there is no hope if you didn't, if you didn't see that the way you were looking, the terms you were working with, the logic that you let run your life has not changed. This would not happen. That is why the sometimes, unfortunately, too many times, we need to go through being desperate, okay, and being not desperate, despaired. It's like I have to go to that place where I have no more hope.
Yeah.
I don't believe when the Israeli government tells me now we did a really good job there. We took the Hamas 5 years back in their ability to I know that this is nonsense. I know that they're speaking and I can hardly hear their voices. I can just see their lips moving. And there's something so not alive in the way that they are.
It's really not funny, but it's on the verge of comic.
Because
the
it's
sketches about it now.
Yeah. Because it's so grotesque. Because it's absolutely not.
I have to say something. I have to say something about the comic aspect of it. There's a very, very smart man called Bergson, and he studied comedy. And he had a few rules, I think a few rules of what is funny and what will always be funny. And one of the things was fixation. When something repeats itself, and you can see this in sitcoms, it's a very, very common rule in comedy. When something repeats itself, it's funny. Why? Because it's against nature.
Great, beautiful.
Fixation, like a fixed character, is a funny character. Because something in us, something inherited in us, in our intuition, in our inner wisdom, knows that this is ridiculous because it's against nature.
Great, it's beautiful.
Right? I remember this from when I was 17. Some things you learn and they're just so, and that's a good sign. That's a good sign for us. It's like a good wake-up call. If it's funny, you better look at it.
Yeah, exactly. So if it repeats itself, it means that I'm not listening. It means that when I think that I'm listening or looking, I'm actually doing the same thing. I'm coming from the same place, looking for different results, looking to see something new, thinking that I'm acting responsibly. But actually, what is really happening is that I'm not. I'm just repeating myself in a grotesque way. So the other thing, and maybe the last for today, the other thing that allows, how should I say, that good people know is that they must allow themselves to be ridiculed and discarded. Because if I'm looking to be accepted, if I'm looking to not be ridiculed or put to,
To be laughed at.
Laughed at, then I would not exceed the consensus. I would not challenge the way things are. I would not challenge the basic assumptions that run the reality that we live, so that in any way I would find myself again and again drawn back into the arms of the consensus.
Yeah,
Again,
aligning.
aligning myself to it, even if I already know that it's not working, and it does so much harm, and it causes so much pain, and it causes so much despair. And again, I go and do that because I have no alternative. That's what the mind does, because the mind comes from the basic assumptions that the world is dangerous and complex, and I am lacking and vulnerable. I need to cope all the time. So the mind says, okay, if you want something different, I'm with you. But before you let go of what is now happening, or the way you look at things now, you must have an alternative. But I cannot see an alternative unless I let go of the basic assumptions. I let go of the way I've been seeing things. I let go of the conditioning I got used to. And then from there, I can see anew. And I have no inclination, no hint or clue
Yeah.
of what I would see once
Yeah,
let go.
this is being the fool.
Yeah.
This is agreeing to be the fool. I know you like the term fool of God. And you're talking, and I can see the first, actually it's not the first, it's the 0 card in tarot cards. 0 is the one before numbers. It's the beginning of all beginnings before the beginning, and that's the fool. And it's just like you're describing. He's walking, and there's a void, and you don't see what's there, but he's walking. And he gives himself over, and maybe that's a leap of faith, what he's doing and what we are called to do.
Yeah. The fool is the one who loves and believes in the miraculous appearance of this creation, even though he has been done much wrong and has been disappointed numerous times. So let us be fools.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.